Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wine and Reason. I'm your host, Julie, and this is my dear friend, Drew. If you
Hello.
all... Hello, thank you. I'm sorry, I should let you do that. Hey, Drew, say something to the nice people.
Hello, nice people.
There we go. If you had a chance to watch Wine and Reason last week, you are already familiar with Drew. He is amazing and a lovely human being, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So what we're talking about tonight, because what we're not talking about at the moment is the first presidential debate. Vice President Biden will be debating President Trump tonight, which means we have a hard stop time because I got to watch that shit and take notes.
Right?
Yeah, I really do.
I'll have some dinner. The cat's going to be watching me yell at the screen like it's a football game.
I know. And the cat's going to act like it doesn't care, but on somewhere deep inside, it's going to be like, is this okay? I don't know.
Yeah,
I assume it is.
Like, Dad?
He's saying the words that don't have my name in them, so I assume it's fine. I don't know. Yeah, that...
He's not shouting, Xavier, stop that. So I think we're good.
That's a great cat name. We have another cat lover in the audience tonight, my friend Wonder Lady. She has 2 babies. They are so freaking cute. They're mackerel tabbies named, I believe, Finn and Fiona. Wonder Lady, correct me if I'm wrong about that. They were litter mates, and they have extra toes.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
Right? Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so really quickly, I'm just going to acknowledge the people in the chat, and then I'm going to give my, if you're too young to be here, please leave disclaimer, and then we'll get into it. We'll get into White Sexy Jesus and how that happened and where that came from. So, hello, Wonder Lady Faye. I just mentioned you and your adorable felines. Hey, Santi the Sane, you were the first person here. So good to see you, and I'm glad your family is doing well. They're adorable. I mean, I haven't seen them, but hearing him talk about them, they're adorable. And of course, Critical Cripple. Hey, Dave, hugs, and Never Again, and Amiga Nuts. Oh, dude, so good to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming. And oh, hey, Microraptor. Oh my gosh. Hey, Oh wow, you're up late. Microraptor is in Sweden, and she was my guest for my 2:00 show. So thank you so much for showing up. That's so cool of you. Yeah, I was actually sorry, Sandy. I was trying to say that one. I'm young at heart. Can I stay? Yes, of course you can. Dude, you're younger than I am. Of course you can. I mean, there is no age limit here. Like, I don't care if you're older or younger. It's fine. I don't care if you can vote. Oh, hey, my sweetheart Junk Shop Library is now in the chat too. That's awesome. Hey, darling. Okay. All right. Really quickly, before anybody else sneaks in, just a quick disclaimer. This channel is not for children. It's called Wine and Reason for a couple of reasons. Tonight, mainly because it features alcohol use, tobacco use, which is stupid. Don't do this. If you haven't started, don't. And if you have, that's between you and your body and who lives with you. I don't care. But if you haven't, just don't. Trust me. So if you're under 18 and you're not watching this with a parent or guardian, I kind of need you to go ahead and get the fuck out. I also swear a lot. Okay. Drew swears less than I do because he's
bullshit.
Nice.
I'm a gentleman, but the English language doesn't stop me.
And it should not, because it's a versatile language and it's fantastic. And, you know, there's time and place words for sure.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And, you know, but I'm a grown up. I fucking talk like one. Okay. This is my spooky glass for the evening, and it is filled. This looks like water. It's not. It's sake.
Ooh, nice.
I wouldn't lie to y'all. Yeah, it's sake. So kampai. And
I'm just going to sit here and enjoy my water.
You do it. You do it because you're amazing and because you don't drink. And that is awesome and good for you. You know, one day I'm going to come downstairs. My liver's going to be, I'm stealing this from a comedian, by the way, but my liver's going to be on the couch smoking a cigarette saying, fuck you. That's what's going to happen.
I feel like if I had maintained the behavior I did between the ages of 21 and 23 and 24, probably would have been the same.
Dude, if I had maintained the behavior I had between 22 and 24, I'd be dead. You and I would not have met.
See, I argue that it's a miracle I've made it this far.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, as much as I believe in miracles, yeah, like I definitely have a lot of doctors to thank, and I have a lot of therapists to thank for the fact that I am not more in trouble than I might be otherwise. But no, luckily I can drink safely and moderately now, and it's good. But yeah, there was a time when you know what? Let's not talk about that. But statute of limitations, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome all of you to Wine and Reason. Thank you so much for showing up. Druid Lover! I'm so sorry. I have not seen this person in forever. Dude, I was afraid you were dead or something. And I'm sorry. That's unfair to put on someone you only know from Facebook. Wait. I know you, Druid Lover. I'm confusing your name with someone else. I am so sorry. I'm confusing you with someone named Heathen Lover, who I have not seen on. Oh wow, that's awkward, and I can't take it back because this is live, so enjoy that. I can't just edit it from your brain. No. Druid Lover, you are always welcome, and you are lovely also. Thank you for coming. And no, I wasn't worried that you were dead. You're fine. I'm sorry. Okay, that's embarrassing. Alrighty, so hey, if I let social embarrassment stop me, I wouldn't have made it past the 3rd grade. So we're just
same.
Roll on through that. Yeah. So the picture that I attempted to take. So, and this is one of those moments where my siblings and my aunts and I, Stuttering Chris, hi sweetheart, I love you. We have kind of a running thing that is going to sound fucked up, but people deal with trauma and awful things in different ways. Okay. So, as I've mentioned many times before, my mom has dementia. And she's forgetting a lot. Sometimes she gets lost in time. She still knows who all of us are, but she doesn't always know when it is, if that makes sense. And one thing she does every year now is she sends multiple holiday cards to everyone. Yeah, it's because she was always so great. And she has an amazing head for numbers. She knows everyone's address in the entire big Catholic extended family, right? She knows everybody's address, and she sends everyone Christmas, Easter, she sends Halloween cards to me because it's my favorite holiday. I mean, just everything. And she never forgets a birthday. But the thing is, she doesn't always remember if she's already sent you a card or not. So we kind of have this because you got to laugh at this shit or you're going to cry, right? So we have this running poll, like where we call each other afterwards. They're like, how many cards did you get? And somebody's like, I got 5. I'm like, oh, I only got 3. Like, well, right? Well, so hey, Lone Wanderer. Yeah, so these were the 2 that I got for Easter this year. Even though I came out to my mom several times as a neo-pagan when I was younger, but she and my dad they're just convinced that I'm still a good Catholic, and at this point they're 78, and I don't feel the need to disabuse them of this notion.
Right. It's like, let's not make this any worse.
Exactly. I mean, what am I going to do? Make the last years of their life worry about my soul? It's like, no, I'm not doing it. Everybody else in the family knows, and they all know why I haven't told my parents, and they don't tell them either, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They all agreed to that, like tacitly. They were like, oh, no, don't tell mom and dad. No. Okay. So, but this is one, I tried to take a picture of it, and it came out kind of blurry, but this is what I meant. And I maybe embarrassed. I don't know. It's hard to tell with Stuttering Chris because he's so ironic that I can't I found out the other day that he was totally playing a joke on me with a bad news source. And very well done, sir. Well done indeed. But yeah, so when I was mentioning sexy white Jesus and how hot Jesus was in some of these pictures, he was like, no, so I don't know. But you got to admit, I mean, this is the resurrected Jesus with the open wounds and everything, and he's cut. I mean, fit, cut and very white, like looks nothing like a first century Middle Eastern person.
Right.
At all. Like there's no brown there. He's so pale. And I have a better one. This is the other card she sent me. This is
hello, Xavier.
sexy. Oh, hey, kitty. This is sexy blonde Jesus.
Come here.
With the blue eyes.
I got you. Hey, come here.
Oh, hi, Xavier. Yeah, so... oh, that's really cool, Santi. Hang on. I gotta, for the LGBTQ among us, I gotta bring this up. This is amazing. Santi the Sane, it's never too late. My dad pretty much told me he is bisexual closet type. Oh, that is so sweet that he confided that in you, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, he must really trust you. That's awesome. Aw, hugs to your dad, Santi. Even if you don't have to tell him why, just hug him for me. Tell him it's from you. I don't care. Whatever works. All right, so we got hot brunette, long-haired Jesus that we're all, pretty much used to. And we also got hot blonde, blue-eyed Jesus that we're all pretty much used to. And it's just, it's weird. And it's absolutely Western, like, what's
I would almost just say westernized.
Westernized, yeah, for sure.
Term. It makes me think of when we talk about Jesus being blonde-haired and blue-eyed, it makes me think of the soundtrack of Book of Mormon when they're talking about the all-American prophet. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed voice of God.
Exactly. It's like Joseph Smith and his...
Right.
But yeah, precisely. I have more ex-Mormon family members, so I can say something about this. That shit's crazy. Just like it's crazier. I mean, I come from a blood cult that believes that every Sunday you're eating the flesh and drinking the blood of your Savior, and Mormons are crazy. Okay,
so I know.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. They're not crazy. Their doctrine is crazy.
Yes, that's a little bit more accurate.
Yeah,
I was in high school and I had a crush on this girl and she was a Mormon, and then she tried to get me to go to her church, and I went, and never again.
Never again. I went to camp, motherfucker. I went to Mormon camp for 2 weeks.
I went to a regular vacation Bible school for a week, and Grandma was like, we're not going to do this again with you, because I was the kid who, while everyone was singing Our God is an Awesome God, I'm like, why? Grandma's just like, I love you, baby. I love you, honey, but no.
Yeah, but no.
Now is not the time or place. I'm like,
you're embarrassing me in front of my church friends.
Right. I'm just like, why?
Why? No, why is the best question ever, right? Oh, Santi, I'm sorry. I just got to throw this up here because Santi, oh, darling, you were so kind. And Santi, if y'all ever watch Santi's show, I mean, he is like so not the machismo stereotype, but there very much is like a machismo, pardon me, can't speak, culture. And it manifests differently. But yeah, I love you. That's amazing. I'm glad you had that moment with your dad. Like that's something you can really treasure like forever.
Yeah.
Real honest moment with a parent as adults. That's good shit. That's the goodness right there. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I got distracted. So sexy white Jesus. Yeah. So yeah. Mormons, it's not their fault. They're indoctrinated hardcore. And I've actually, I was watching a documentary, because like I said, I do have a family member who converted to Mormonism and then deconverted after his Mormon wife fucked around on him, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so he was all in, and like they were raising their children that way and everything. And then once she did that, he was kind of like, "See ya, can't no." I mean, he's still a Christian, but he is not Mormon, and also he didn't know anything. He didn't know the weird stuff about about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was just Anyway, okay, so Not here to dunk on Mormons. Mormonism, sure, but not on Mormons themselves, because what I was getting to was, I saw a documentary at one point where it was so sad. They have ex-Mormon support groups in Utah. Yeah, and because and I listened to two young men describe coming out as apostates, as not believing that the Mormon church is true, is social suicide. That was the term. Yeah. So it's
the level of shunning in the cultural element of Mormonism is, sometimes it's wild to just even be an outsider and observe it.
Yeah, because I gotta say, and I talk about my family way too much online, and I know for a fact that my father would hate it because he's paranoid AF. But none of my siblings stayed Catholic. We were all raised Catholic, and none of us stayed that way. Some of us went more to the right. I went screaming to the left as far as possible. But it's a source of pain for them, and it was. But they still love us all, and they never once didn't ask us to come to their home. They never once said anything about it. Like they just wanted to make sure that the relationship with their children was more important to them than their children staying in the religion in which we've been raised. And that's frankly how it should be. Mm-hmm. Like, they're parents, they love us. And I'm not saying that they love us more than they love their God. I don't know, but they certainly love us more than they love the conventions of an institution like the Catholic Church.
Yeah. And my parents are very similar. They never pushed religion or anything on us, but
Oh no, mine did, but I'm just saying they let it go.
Right. But I was going to kind of bounce off of that, and also off of Santi's story about how, when I came out to my dad that I was bisexual. That was one of the funniest moments of my life, because we were just driving in a car I forget what we were doing. We were like going to pick up something in the store, and I'm just like, hey, I feel like I should tell you this. And he's like, okay. And I tell him, and he's just like, okay.
Oh, that's nice.
and I'm just like, that's it. And he's just like, what else do I need to say? I mean, as long as you don't do anything stupid.
That is so cool. Like, as long as you're safe, sort of was his.
That's literally what he means. He, my dad has always been his mentality is like, do whatever the heck you're gonna do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not hurting yourself, as long as you are not causing danger to anybody around you, do whatever you want.
It sounds like your dad is a humanist.
Yeah, he I would argue that he definitely, even if he wouldn't identify as one, I definitely feel he leans that way.
Yeah.
He works in human resources. He loves people and working with people, like, easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do want to say, I was a humanist when I still had God beliefs. I was a polytheist, but when I first read about humanism in college, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is totally me. Absolutely.
Right.
So you don't have to not believe to be a humanist. And it really pisses me off when I hear like Answers in Genesis and some of the other like extremist groups, extremist Christian groups talk about humanism like it's a bad thing.
Right.
Like caring about each other and being empathetic and being open-minded to the fact that not everybody wants to live exactly the way you do.
Right.
Is bad. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
Okay, so oh, hang on. We have a thing here. I like to think Joseph Smith intentionally made Mormon sound like Mormon sound like Moroni on purpose to laugh at them. But quite probably, or Mormon. I'm not sure exactly what was. His
name is Moroni.
Yeah, Mormon, and the angel is Moroni, which it's a little weird. I feel honored to be present when you shared that. Thank you, Sandy. Oh, I do too. I am all honored as well. Thank you.
Yes.
That is so cool. Oh. Okay, 1 second. One more thing, and then I'll stop being all gushy over Santy. I just had to tell someone who would understand. Love y'all. We love you too. Okay.
I don't even know you, but you're awesome.
You are awesome, and I'm gonna cry. All right. That's okay. Everything does that to me these days.
You're sitting here singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" in the background.
You're right.
Grab one of the guitars. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
My turn from guest to musical guest. Let's go.
Yeah, seriously. It's there's a couple of Broadway hits I could bust into right now, but then I'd get a copyright strike. So all right.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out this whole not figure out. I mean, I had some ideas myself about how like Jesus got all, Anglicanized, when he was and first century, Palestinian Jew. And I will say this, I'm not opposed to mythicism. Those are the folks who don't believe that Jesus existed at all, because the only sources we have about him specifically is the Bible and one paragraph in Josephus's History of the Jews, which is widely believed by a lot of ancient historians, and I'm sorry I'm not citing them right now, I shouldn't have brought it up, to be to be inserted after the fact, and to be not plagiarism, but like Josephus didn't write that. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense, because Josephus was a Jew and he was writing the history of the Jewish people. And the way that this paragraph talks about Jesus, it's like he was the Messiah. And nowhere else in that document does Josephus mention the Messiah as having come, as having showed up.
Right.
So it makes no sense. So when you've only got one source for a historical figure, and a lot of academics are pretty much sure that Moses never existed, I'm not sure about Jesus. But let's go ahead and go with the accepted academia, which is Jesus was likely a first century rabbi with some, at the time, heretical ideas. And by heretical, I mean heretical for Judaism in that time. So I'm gonna take it. I'm going to take it as though that he really lived, and frankly, what does it matter? I mean, we can't prove that he didn't. So, because it's just too long ago. So, so why bother, honestly? So let's just take it as we find it, I guess.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the interesting thing that I found was that and I first read this on Wikipedia, and then I looked it up because Junk Shop and I have a ridiculous number of Bibles, of different editions of Bibles. All of the citations are in the description, by the way, y'all. So there's only one description. This is a quote from Wikipedia. Only one description of the physical appearance of Jesus given in the New Testament. And I was like, what? So I wanted to check that out. But really quickly, before we get to that, the depiction of him in art, I'm sorry, I'm quoting again. The depiction of him in art took several centuries to reach a conventional standardized form, which makes sense, for his physical appearance, which makes sense was bracketed for me. Quote, which has subsequently remained largely stable since that time. No, it was subsequently. I just decided to make a word. Subsequently. Most images of Jesus have in common a number of traits which are now almost universally associated with Jesus, although variants may be seen. And of course, that's the conventional image of a fully bearded Jesus with long hair that emerged around AD 300. So we're talking about roughly 200 years, but it did not later, assuming roughly when he died, but did not become established until the 6th century in Eastern Christianity and much later in the West. So the big thing in Western iconography, and actually, this is a funny thing, if you know anything about the Eastern Catholic Church and the Western Catholic Church, is that the Eastern Orthodox Church, they have icons and venerate them The Western Church isn't supposed to, but any Protestant you meet will tell you that they do. So it's just kind of a crapshoot there. But yeah, but so that image of Jesus, like the hippie image, right? The long hair, the beard, the flowing robe, and particularly the brown or blonde hair and the often blue or lighter eyes and the very light skin. That all comes later. And if you think about the Eastern Orthodox Church, you know, they were in Greece, but also up in Eastern Europe. So parts later became Russia, the Ukraine, any of the Slavic countries. So it is a bit fascinating. But yeah, it's been this way for a long time. Everybody just sort of settled on this image. However, the one way that you could absolutely tell if you're looking at old icons or old pictures of Jesus, if it's Jesus will have a halo.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the big difference. We don't do that as much in the modern depictions, like the cards I showed you, because now that image is cemented so much we don't have to. But that's how they used to tell the difference back in the day. I don't know. This is where Drew and I did not compare our research, so I don't know if he has anything to say on this point. So I'm giving a pause just in case.
So I've been reading a few articles like through the BBC, etc. Some basic assumptions that I'm seeing that make total sense to me is that, you know, a lot of men of that era didn't really have long hair. Most men did keep their hair short.
Oh, like Roman style.
Yeah, pretty much.
That makes sense.
And, you know, the earliest paintings that have been discovered looks like it's something that Yale owns and is public domain. Looks like it was from the first half of the 3rd century, and it shows a Jesus, although it basically just kind of looks like a stick figure in a robe, but you can clearly see that he has short hair.
Ah, that's interesting. Wait, how old was that, did you say? I'm sorry, I was typing something.
The first half of the 3rd century.
First half of the 3rd. Okay, cool. All right. And this is, and that makes sense because, I'm sorry, I'm not talking into my microphone. And this makes sense because we wouldn't have had perspective or anything yet. So it would have been very flat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and okay, Wonder Lady brings up a good point because some articles mention this as well. The Shroud of Turin, first photograph, and it's Da Vinci. Yes, ma'am, it is. This is something that drives me batshit crazy. Is when I'm not going to name any names, but when certain Christian apologists on the YouTubes, like there's one in particular who drives me up a wall, and you know, he's a sweetheart, but oh my God, his ideas are so bad. He swears by the Shroud of Turin. And I'm like, dude, that has been debunked so many times. And basically it was done, as Wonder Lady said, photography. It was done by shining light through the fabric in a certain way that created, sugar. What's that thing in art where you're not drawing the actual lines, you're drawing the space around it. It's a relief. Is that the word, relief?
I think you're right.
It's something like that. It's the reason that photographs are upside down when you develop them,
right?
Like old school ones, yeah. And everything is front to back. Like if you're looking, like it's how cameras work. Like right now, like I'm holding my cigarette in my right hand, but to me it looks like it's in my left hand if I'm looking at the screen.
Right.
So okay, yeah. So everything's reversed, and yeah. So Wonder Lady, you are absolutely right. This is cool. Okay, so GeoSam brings up Exodus 33:20. You cannot see my face, for man shall not see me and live. Yes, that happens a lot. That is talking about Yahweh specifically.
Yes.
But if you were taught about the Trinity, then it's also Jesus and also the Holy Spirit. It's a little weird. Yeah. I'm sorry. You were going to say something.
Oh no, I was saying it was Old Testament because of Exodus, but
Yeah.
like you said, Holy Trinity, and the thing about that kind of brings me to that point that a lot of rules and ideas are always kind of finicky, and you know, you've got so many different sects of Christianity that, you know, will live and die by certain, maybe even not even just word for word, but certain interpretations, while another side would do the same.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I never knew anyone who did this personally, but I'm from a small town in Kentucky, and there were definitely like snake handling churches,
Right.
You know, and not right in the city, but like in the surrounding, county and the rural areas. And it's certainly a thing in places in Appalachia. And it really is terrifying. They abuse the snake. So I don't want to, I really hate that. But also they'll drink strychnine and shit. Like, don't do that. Don't.
Like, no.
It's
bad.
one line in Matthew. Don't drink poison. That's just okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, don't do that. Oh my gosh! Hang on, we have math. I love this. Okay, one Trinity that actually works. Oh, that's fantastic! Thank you, Microraptor. You are brilliant. That's amazing. I gotta wonder about this because here's the thing. Yeah, everything was legal back then, and cannabis we know for sure existed, and also. Well, there's some other stuff, but it's apocryphal, and I don't know if it's true. But the Damascus Road experience that Paul had, like he never met Jesus in life, and we know for a fact, even though it's sad, a lot of biblical scholars know this. Hey, nerdy rodent, but a lot of
I can still hear you.
Oh, sure. A lot of regular Christians don't know this, is that the Gospels are not firsthand accounts. The Gospels were not written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Ringo. I'm sorry. And
Ringo! I'm sorry, I'm all the way in another room, but man.
No, it's fine. Paul. There we go. No, not Paul. The other one.
Was it George?
Simon. Simon Peter. There we go. Got it. Anyway, yeah, Ringo. They weren't written by them, so we don't know. And it's just and it's frustrating because you try to tell a Christian that, and in my own experience, they don't believe me. And I'm not an ancient text scholar, so it's tricky. Santi says it's been proven by historians that paragraph was added later and is not part of the Bible. Thank you. I did not know that. And that's another thing too, is I remember, oh, poor snake hands. I remember telling one of my a relative about the Council of I want to say Nicaea, but that might be the wrong one. The one where they decided for the Catholic Bible which books were going to go in the Bible and which weren't. And I mean, you can so tell that this was done by committee. If you read it back to front, yeah. So what did you want to say? And I'll try not to hit the microphone again, guys.
Oh no, I was just saying. Oh yeah, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I had to get up because I just realized the rats were out of water. I was like, I need to get them water.
Aw. And for anyone taking that out of context, and especially for Nerdy Rodent, Drew has 2 pet rats that are freaking adorable.
Yeah, Annabelle and Serenity.
Annabelle and Serenity, oh my gosh.
They are goofy. Serenity is definitely not serene. She's rambunctious. She takes after me. Annabelle is kind of just like, I want to nap and cuddle. That's it.
Excellent. Here's an example of nerdy. Council of IKEA decided how everything got put together. Well done. Well done, sir. Yeah, I admire it. I got to admire it. All right, so I'm just going to pull up a little bit of comparison translation for y'all. And I know this is normally Junk Shop's thing, but it's just 3 lines, and it kind of struck me. So when I read that bit about how there's only one description of Christ's appearance in the Bible, I remember going, okay, I've read this, but it's been over 20 years, over 25 years actually. And really? So I'm just gonna yank that up here. And what I did is I took 4 of our Bibles. Did the King James, the NIV Study Bible, the New Revised Standard Version, and the Catholic Family Life edition. Because the Catholic Bible and all the Protestant Bibles, there are some different books. The Apocrypha are different things. And the way these lines differ is mainly in grammar, which I find interesting and which I kind of wish I'd made a way to like pull up so you could see it. But like the line breaks are the same, but the punctuation is not. So, okay. So the description of Jesus in the New Testament, anybody want to guess how far we have to get into the Bible before we get a description of Jesus, of the way he looks?
I would say, would it be near the Gospels? Near.
That's what I thought. That was my thought. Was like, surely one of the apostles, right, wrote down how the guy looked.
Don't tell me it's all the way at the end in like Revelations or something. It is
in Revelation.
God.
Yes.
I mean,
God damn it. It's not even how Christ might have looked in life. It's how he looks
like now.
Back at the end of the world. Yeah. So we don't even, I mean, do we even know? And the weird thing about the hang on, I have a visual aid.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, God damn it. Of course it's at the end.
Right? Okay, so this is my and I actually do treasure this. This is my family's Bible. So it's got like birth dates, death dates, that kind of stuff in it. And when my parents were getting rid of some stuff, they were like, is there anything you want? And I was like, I want that. And they were so pleased. They didn't know I wasn't a believer. I just wanted it for the posterity of the thing and because it's kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's all the way at the very back in Genesis. But the interesting thing about the Catholic Bible is it does this weird shit in red. Where it's like on hang on, I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. Here's an example that I think you guys can see. Maybe. Okay, so you see the bit written in red there? Okay, so the other side are the actual like biblical verses. And everything on the side that's in red and in black ink below is all, this is why this means what it means. So it's like an explanation. So, and the reason I want to do, that thing is fucking heavy. Okay. The reason I wanted to show you guys that, is because it will stand out when I go through the differences. So if you'll all indulge me just for a second and, yeah. Yep. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for letting me, wade in your pool here for a second. I'm not trying to take over, I promise. It's just, okay, so this is Revelation 1:14 through 16. In the King James, it says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. Now, those of you who know your Shakespeare know that countenance simply means the way his face looked, right? Okay, so I'm gonna continue really quickly. I'm just gonna go through all 4 so that y'all can hear the differences before you forget what they are, because there aren't a lot. They're small. Okay, so the NIV Study Bible, his head and his hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. So there we have a plural eye, instead of just as a flame, were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace, slightly different, and his voice was like the sound of rushing waters, not many waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and from his mouth came a sharp double-edged sword. His face was like the sun shining in all its brilliance. And that's where that last line is where the translations really kind of do their own thing to an extent. So the New Revised Standard Version, his head and his hair were white as white wool, white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined as in a furnace, and his face was like the sound of many waters. I like that they went back to many waters there. I kind of like that, just poetically. But anyway, in his right hand he held 7 stars, and from his mouth came a sharp, double-edged sword, and his face was like the sun shining with full force. And Wonder Lady will be happy to know that the New Revised Standard Version has the most up-to-date modern grammar of the ones that I read. Okay. Catholic Family Life, last one. The hair of his head was as white wool or as snow, and his eyes were like a fiery flame. Okay, how is a flame not fiery? I'm just curious. Anybody know? Because I don't. His feet were like polished brass, refined in a furnace, and his voice was the sound of rushing water. Back to rushing. In his right hand, he held 7 stars. A sharp 2-edged sword came out of his mouth, and his face shone like the sun at its brightest. Okay. And since this is the Catholic one with the little in red, here's for you poor simpletons who can't understand this shit. The asterisk comes with the in his right hand, he held 7 stars bit, and the feet part. So his feet, furnace, means Christ is unchangeable. The Greek word translated as quote unquote refined is unrelated. They just throw it out. The Catholics, they're just like, nope, that word wasn't meant to even be there.
That was a clerical error by the Greek who wrote this book.
Oh my God, it's so weird. It's like they actually say it does not grammatically match with the rest of the sentence. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It's an adjective. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So and so I kind of commented myself here because, you know, if refined were related, Jesus would be changeable. So that's convenient. So yeah, his feet, furnace, means he's unchangeable, and they just got to throw out that word refined because otherwise he's changeable. His voice, ... water, means Christ speaks with divine authority. Now, I don't know what, I mean, like my time in polytheism tells me that that's much more goddessy than godlike. You know, there's the Lady of the Lake. There's a lot of water goddesses. There's, you know, there are some water gods and river gods too, but water is tends to be a thing associated with emotions and all the shit that, you know, we try to, you know, gender in it's stupid, but it's in our culture, so it's weird. Quote, 7 stars ... This is interesting. This is the really interesting part that's in the Catholic version. In the pagan world, the gods Mithras and Caesars, which I know Julius Caesar was deified like a god, so I'm assuming that's who they meant after his death, were represented with 7 stars in their right hands, which meant their dominion over the world. And so I was like, well, is this just converting pagans with the imagery? Because that's all it says. Full stop. Yeah. It cites 2 pagan deities, and then it's like, and that's why Christ has 7 stars. I'm like, why? If these other pagan gods don't exist, why?
Are the 5 ones like? Did you just pull them out the sky? Like,
right? I mean, what happened? What is that? It's like, okay, well, I guess, you know,
Polaris, Beetlejuice, or Dice, whatever.
Yeah, maybe they threw the Southern Cross in just for fun.
Right. Oh no, they couldn't have thrown the sun in. Remember, the sun goes around the earth. We need that.
Yeah, he's got shiny face, and that's important. Very
right.
Very all right, so then it says, after citing the 2 pagan gods that apparently is meant to be about, a sharp 2-edged sword refers to the word of God. Because, you know, Catholics don't celebrate their faith. They mourn it. That's Kevin Smith. So his face and the brightness of the sun, quote, symbolizes the divine majesty of Christ. because I don't know, why not, I guess.
Yes, because if there's anything that people love, it's looking straight at the sun.
Right? Because, that doesn't burn out your retina. Oh, wait,
Right.
It doesn't if you're our president. But anyway, that's
for
later night.
You just gotta put it over your eyes and just look up.
Yeah, actually, I needed to do a really quick hey honey, over there. Don't let me go over time, okay? Just like type something in the chat or whatever. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Drew and I could talk forever, so I just wanted to make sure we had
right. Oh God,
somebody else. I need somebody else keeping my attention. Oh my gosh. Okay, Microraptor is citing one of my favorite. I think I've said it before, but if I haven't, The Life of Brian.
Yes.
I saw that when I was in about 5th or 6th grade. So that was the first time I ever saw a full-grown man naked. I was intrigued. A little weirded out, mostly intrigued. But yeah, there we go. Okay, thank you, Graham Chapman. So yeah, boy called Brian, and he grew, and he grew, and he grew. A man they called Brian. Okay, I'm gonna stop that now because I'm totally gonna get in trouble. And also I can't say that well. Anyway, look up with sunglasses to protect your eyes, says Microraptor. Yes, absolutely. I don't. So what's weird here is that it's in Revelation. So are they saying, we can't know. We can't know if they were always saying that this is how Jesus looked. Also, if you were really 12 dudes hanging out with this guy for years, and you really think he's the end-all, be-all teacher of your religion, don't you think maybe somebody would have drawn a sketch or written down a description? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to find out that Judas Iscariot did that. You know what? Why wouldn't any of them do that?
And see, the thing about it that I think is really interesting is that, in Revelation, they just identify themselves as John, and Christian scholars, have been going back and forth about it for centuries about, is it the Apostle John? Is it this other John? How many people named John do we know? Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And by the way, if you're sitting here, now Julie itself is not a biblical name, but Andrew is, sorry.
And is Timothy.
As is Timothy, and as is my middle name. So yeah, I mean, the whole reason that most of us, and our names are awesome, they're lovely. I'm not saying they're not. The reason that most of us are walking around with biblical names right now in 2020 is because of this book and its veneration for so many centuries of that are not prehistory, right? Like if the Egyptian civilization, of the pharaohs had lasted longer, and say Christianity and Islam have been the ones to fizzle out, I might be named Nefertiti.
Right.
It's just the way history played out.
Right.
Yeah. But I do want to say, on one level, I know we're joking about the sexy white Jesus, and I enjoyed joking about that. And I did enjoy very much, and I have a couple of other things written down, but I really enjoy looking at how that came to be. But there's also a Japanese Jesus and a Japanese John the Baptist. I couldn't get it without being sure that it was okay to use it, but I saw it in another presentation on that I think Seth Andrews from the Thinking Atheist podcast did it in one of his presentations. It's like it was either Seth Andrews or Aaron Ra, I'm pretty sure. But they show a Japanese John the Baptist baptizing a Japanese Jesus, and they both look Japanese. They're wearing Japanese clothing. They look Japanese. I'm also not opposed to in any way Black Jesus. Like we in some churches here in the South and in other places, we get Black Jesus, and that's awesome. And it's certainly a little closer to realism than white blue-eyed Jesus, so
Right.
a lot closer than black.
I just had a really stupid nerd thought that like no one here will get, but there's a Yu-Gi-Oh monster that's called the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Replace it with Blue Eyes White Jesus.
Blue Eyes White Jesus. That's fantastic. John of the People's Front of Judea, or John of the Judean People's Front. Thank you, Microraptor. Yeah, exactly. Gender Jesus, says Geo Sam. Geo Sam, did you know that in a lot of movies and also in Jesus Christ Superstar, Judas is almost always played by either a black man or a redhead? Kind of interesting. Geo Sam is a ginger himself, so he might be interested in that. Just a little bit of theater trivia for you. And in The Last Temptation of Christ, Harvey Keitel played Judas Iscariot, and he had red hair in that. It was amazing. Yeah, so it's fascinating to me that we but at the same time, it makes total sense when you think about, cultural contamination isn't the right word. It's an anthropological term, but it's where different cultures come into contact with each other, and then you start seeing like this style pottery showing up in a culture where before then that style pottery didn't show up. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
But yeah, it's that kind of thing, and I think it's like basically this stuff got around, and then people just sort of created God in their own image, which is what we've always done with gods. And,
would it be like cultural dissemination? Maybe
that might be it. I honestly, it's been so long since I took that class. We're not going to talk about how long it's been. It's depressing. No, it's not
cultural appropriation. Microraptor.
Oh my God! No, yeah, maybe we might call it that now. I don't think they called it that back then. I'm
right. I feel like at that point they just called it like believe in my stuff or else.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of believe in my stuff or else. And
yeah.
Oh my God!
How many crusades about it?
Oh God, the children's crusade being the worst.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's send children unarmed. I mean small children. This was the Middle Ages. Like if you were 16, you were an adult. Like this is for little kids.
If you were 16, you were either an adult or you were dead.
Yeah, exactly. You were probably married and had like a grandchild by then. Sexy green Jesus. I don't know why my honey put in sexy green Jesus, but I like it.
The jolly green Jesus.
Might be. I got a green skull back here. Maybe that's why. The jolly green. Oh, I'm sorry. I just caught that. Oh, it was a slow burn. I'm sorry. It took a minute.
No, it's okay. The beautiful part about slow burns is that the explosion caused by it is always that much better.
Yes, agreed. I'm not going to take that.
Kermit is Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
And now I'm just thinking of like, it's not easy being green, but it's like, it's not easy being Christ.
Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Julie,
I'm right.
Don't die on me.
I won't. I promise. It's not COVID. I was. I think I tried to breathe sake. No, the and also I'm thinking about Kermit the Frog, and I love him. I love him more than I love Jesus.
Can I just imagine like Kermit the Frog sitting on a throne in the sky with a white robe, with a freaking white wig, and he's just playing his banjo.
Uh-huh. Oh, and he'd let everybody in.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck. Pigs,
Rainbow Connection, my friends.
Whatever the fuck Gonzo is, he doesn't care. Gonzo's chicken, Loretta, it doesn't matter. They'd all the Rizzo the rat from the diner, like they'd all be up in there. It'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm screaming into the mic. Okay, I gotta calm down. Raptor Jesus. Kermit is Jesus at Junk Shop Library, and Junk Shop wrote, yep, Jesus the Frog. I would like it much better.
The Frog here.
Jesus the Frog here with Messiah on the street. And if you get that joke, You're either a dear friend of mine or you're as old as I am.
I'm not as old as you, but I love the Muppets.
I know, but you got it. I was amazed. That's fantastic. Okay, all right, hang on. I have information. This is so good. This is so awesome. I needed this today. Okay, so yep, I read all the Bible shit, Bible stuff. Um, okay, so yeah, basically, it looks like what happened is that over the centuries, people just kind of started painting and drawing Jesus the same way, and it's been, according to the Wikipedia article, largely stable since that time, which would have been during the early church after 300 BC, so definitely through the Middle Ages. Most images of Jesus have in common a number of traits, which are now almost universally associated with Jesus, although variants can be seen. Oh, and if you're wondering about seeing Jesus in like a white robe with a gold sash, that's the line in Revelation right before the ones that I read about his hair being white as wool, as white as snow. So yeah, it talks about what he's wearing. Very fashion conscious, our Jesus. The conventional image of a bearded Jesus with long hair emerged around AD 300, but did not become established until the 6th century in Eastern Christianity. Oh, I said this already. I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Cruciform halo. Yes. Images of Jesus tend to show ethnic characteristics similar to those of the culture in which the image was created. And I think that's our big takeaway from tonight. And honestly, I don't think this is something that many Christians would argue with me about. To me, it makes me think of, well, obviously that's people creating God in their own image. But if I can put my old, very old and battered Christian hat on, I would say, well, of course, Jesus comes to people in a way that they would understand him because he's universal. And so he would look like however they looked. So I think that's actually kind of sweet in a way. And I can see, if you want something nice to say to a Christian relative or friend that's not going to piss them off, that might not be the worst thing to point that out. Hey, Matt Pig, nice to see you, my brother. How you doing? My brother is figurative there, and the only reason I feel the need to point that out is because I talk about my actual brother so much on this show. I don't want anyone to think that that's not what I mean. Matt Pig lives in Ireland. We might be related, but if we are, it's a ways back. Okay. Yeah. So, Drew, what else did you find? You're talking about and something else.
That was pretty much it. Was this article that just kind of speculated a lot? It obviously talked about how obviously based on location and kind of biology of the time, it's really unlikely Jesus would have had blue eyes. A lot of it is just kind of like the odds of our symbolic depiction of Christ is astronomically unlikely to look like if Christ lived, what he would actually look like.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't look anything like a Middle Eastern Jew or Middle Eastern person. And by the way, guys, I'm not implying Judaism as a race there. That I know that's wrong. It's a religion, not a race. But yeah, it's would not have looked anything like that. Okay, so the fiddlesticks, I had something in my head and it went away. What was it? Don't run away thought. It was a good thought. Dagnabbit. All right, I'm going back to my notes. Hang on.
It'll be there.
It'll be there. I hope so. Okay. This is from History Stories. This is basically like the History Channel online. This was an article by Sarah Pruitt. And she said, she wrote, quote, for centuries, the most common image of Jesus Christ, at least in Western culture. That's an important distinction because we already talked about the Japanese Christ, right? Has been that of a bearded, fair-skinned man with long, wavy, light brown or blonde hair and often blue eyes. But the Bible doesn't describe Jesus physically, and all the evidence we do have indicates he probably looked very different from how he has long been portrayed, which is what Drew was just saying. So this is me, not Sarah Pruitt. Basically, all we know biblically about how Jesus looked is in Revelation after the death and the resurrection. And at this point in the story, we have no reason to think this describes how Jesus looked in life, because
Right.
he's in like magical zombie end of the world mode. So like Judas Iscariot, I mean, this is a good example. Like Judas Iscariot had to kiss him in front of the Roman guards to identify him and get him arrested, or so the story says, right? So, I mean, this wasn't a time where you had like most wanted posters. You know, certainly didn't have photography. So yeah, we have no idea. And so this leads me to another question. And it's a question that has been expressed not in this way, but I've heard more than one atheist say, like, if a Damascus Road, particularly Matt Dillahunty, I've heard say this, but other people have as well. But I heard it from him first, so I'm going to cite him. That if a Damascus Road experience was good enough for Paul, for Saul/Paul, right? Changed his name, became a disciple, and wrote all the letters and shit.
Right.
If that was good enough for Paul, why isn't that good enough for me? And I agree. In fact, I once like calmed down a very religious family member by saying, hey, you know what? Saving my soul is not your job. Let your God do it. He can do anything, right? He'll know how to convince me. And she's fine now. But it was very sweet of her to be concerned. But yeah, the point is that how the fuck did Saul know what Jesus looked like?
Right.
I mean, yeah, was it just word of mouth? What the fuck? I mean, he was tracking down Christians because they were causing trouble with their weird ass death cult. And let's face it, that's what it was. There were a lot of mystery cults at the time, but theirs was absolutely a death cult. Like,
oh yeah. And a well-known one at that.
Mm-hmm. Like what's that line that Jesus said? Before this generation, like some of you will not have seen the grave before I return. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically like before this generation has passed away, and Junk Shop is over there going and probably saying the exact line in their head. I'm sorry, honey.
Yep. The countless amount of generations that have passed hence. And it's
my gosh. Yeah, it's been over 2,000 years, man. You're late.
And every congregation ever, is probably like, oh no, this is it, guys. This is it.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at if you watch X Cult Baby, her channel, and if you're not subscribed, you should be. And any of the ex Jehovah's Witnesses folks, like they will tell you, like, oh no, we have dates. We have specific dates when the world was supposed to end, and it just kept not happening. So then they just change the date and move on.
Right.
And it really makes you wonder how people stay indoctrinated into this stuff. Except that with Jehovah's Witnesses, I mean, you're supposed to be of the world, but not in it. And it makes me sad because they get stuck. They get stuck in this situation where their whole support system, all of their friends and family, is tied up in this religion. And then if they've been baptized and they no longer believe and they're apostates, then the hardcore shunning happens. Like you and I were talking about Mormon shunning before, but it's worse.
Oh yeah,
with Jehovah's Witnesses.
And and the thing about it that kind of to bounce off of that I always think of in regards to either shunning or belief and everything else, I almost argue that I would almost argue that it's kind of the opposite of what they claim their doctrine should be doing according to their doctrine.
Yeah.
They should be saving people and converting people.
They're so inclusive. Like that's why there are so many like minority, like there's so many Black Jehovah's Witnesses, because like they're so inclusive when it comes to race, which is a social construct anyway. But when it comes to race, we know it doesn't pan out that way in real life. Really quickly, yes, Microraptor, you are absolutely correct. X-Cult Baby Rudy is non-binary, and I said she. I apologize. It is they. Yeah, their pronouns are they, and I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I really do not want to do that. I don't like misgendering people. It makes me feel sad. So thank you for helping me out. Yeah, so it is a oh, also, y'all, if you haven't watched Rudy's video on Where's Rudy, check it out. It's hilarious. It's really, really good. Okay, sorry. I'm finished. Anyway, Drew, I'm sorry. I think I
Julie.
interrupted you. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
I don't know. All right. Well, we've been going for a little over an hour.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And I could talk to you all night, but
Yep.
I need to get ready to take notes about this debate. How are you
Yeah.
feeling? There's something I want to say.
Go for it.
Thank you. First of all, if you live, Saul Goodman. Sorry, there was a joke in the chat that made me laugh. If you live in the U.S., please vote in November.
Absolutely.
Vote early if you can. Mail in your votes if you can. Do not, please don't vote third party. We can't afford it. We just can't. The stakes are too high, y'all. I'm sorry. You might not be in love with Biden, but Kamala Harris pretty much rocks my socks. So there's a lot. I mean, maybe think of it in terms like this. Who's going to do the least amount of harm? Because if you think that Trump gives a shit about you, I think he's proven to all of us that he does not.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And now I will stop telling you. I'm sorry. I'm telling you how to vote, and I shouldn't do that. I should have just said vote.
Yeah, I was going to say you're gonna set Drew off because I'm very much like vote whoever you believe in.
I know.
Or two evils argument is bullshit. Like
I know. And listen, any other year, I would be right there with you. Any other election.
And I feel like that this election cycle really proves why we need more than two parties.
Yes, it does.
It's like we've basically got shit and shittier, and it's like, can we get one that's like mediocre at best?
Yeah, right. I mean, I like this. Microraptor, she's from Sweden, and she says Biden is kind of crap. Trump is really crappy. Yeah, I mean,
and I would agree with that.
Are like, don't vote for that asshole. Please don't.
Oh, absolutely.
That makes me feel better about being a little preachy on the voting.
The only thing about Kamala Harris that I don't like is her history as Attorney General in California.
Yeah.
Because she took a lot of minor drug offense people and put them in jail for crimes that they did not need to be put in jail for that amount of time with.
Yes. Yeah, for way too long. It was definitely punitive, not at all looking at rehabilitation or
absolutely
anything like that.
I just wanted to make sure that point is clear. Because
and it's fair.
That's something I question about her, especially in the role as vice president. It's like, I know you don't have as much power as Biden would, but I've got to wonder how much you will. I'm curious about what kind of effects she will have in that area, in that role.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. But again, this is another reason to watch the debates. I know a lot of us have our minds made up. And I certainly do. I know who I'm voting for. But at the same time, I watched the Clinton-Trump debates, and I remember texting people, and I'm not going to say who, but texting some people in my life and saying, "Hey, are you watching the debate?" And they're like, "No, I don't want to watch. I don't like watching someone self-destruct," like meaning Trump, because nobody is going to win. I mean, I'm sure some people did, but I didn't. And a lot of those folks didn't either. And a lot of them who didn't watch the debates voted third party. And I know for a fact that one of them at least, and, sometimes that's all it takes, but at least one of them, if he'd watched those debates, and watched how Trump stalked around behind Hillary Clinton while she was talking and was all creepy. Do you remember that shit?
Yes.
Like,
very,
yeah,
very
he
well.
never, he would have not voted third party, and he would have voted for Hillary just to keep that sleaze bag out. Like, he would have done that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So really quick from Never Again, I'm sorry, I'm still not over the shock of having a fucking reality TV show holding the presidency. You and me both. It's been the most surreal 4 years of my life, and I'm bipolar, so that's saying something.
Right, absolutely, same.
Right? Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, it's 6:40. The debate is starting. I think in 20 minutes.
Maybe. I thought it was an hour and 20 minutes because I thought it started at 9 Eastern.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, you're correct. It's in an hour. Thank you, hon. It's in an hour and 20 minutes. I'm sorry. But yeah. Okay. So if you're an American, if you have a dog in this fight, if you don't, honestly, I understand why you don't want to watch it, but.
Yeah, don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, I don't either. Like if you're,
I definitely take the viewpoint of not my country, not my problem.
If you're in
when it comes to our politics.
Yeah, if you're in Sweden or the UK or Germany right now, don't worry about it. But if you're in the US, oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So just, please, just at least watch the debate. Encourage people to watch the debate, even if they already have their minds made up, because you never know. You never know what will change someone's mind. Yeah. Okay, so final thoughts, Drew.
Final thoughts are, just kind of like you said, if you're an American, get involved. I don't necessarily agree with Julie's stance on don't vote third party, but that's also just because I'm very laissez-faire in my human nature aspects of things. I'm like, hey, some people genuinely just like, I can't pick between the shinier of two turds. I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I'm not gonna care if you vote one way or the other when it comes to third parties or if you vote for Biden. But sometimes I have to question some of the people who vote for Trump. I could say all day about how I feel kind of lucky that he signed a thing about insulin prices, but we all of us know that he's doing shit like that now because he's like, oh fuck, I got a re-election in 4 months. I gotta make sure that these people in this specific group might actually think, hey, this guy's looking out for me. Let me vote for him. And especially.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and especially be aware of that, on either side, because I have definitely taken the cynical stance of, while politicians will tell you they care about you, Republican, Democrat, or otherwise, they're still out for themselves. Really listen to what either one of them are saying on that stage and really take what seems factual with a grain of salt at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. And double check, go to their websites, look at their platforms.
Absolutely.
It's okay. I got to show this. Santi is he's a permanent resident, but not a citizen. I'm sorry, Santi, I hope that was okay for me to say, but I just wanted to explain the I can't vote part. But if he wins, I'm taking my family to Spain. That's what we're doing. We are going to lose people like Santi the Sane, y'all. How? I know we all have computers and we can still stay connected, but I was kind of hoping we don't live that far away from each other. I was kind of hoping to meet him and his family someday.
Yeah, putting an ocean in between, that's not cool.
No, but I get it though. I get it.
Oh, absolutely.
There have been some moments when things have Trump has said some things that
he said a lot of things.
He's said a lot of things, but you're right. And I shouldn't even bring it up because I can't quote it verbatim right now, but there have been a few things that he said that are a bit, that ring of eugenics to me.
Yeah.
That terrifies me. And also that ring of fascism. And I just have this moment where I'm remembering reading The Diary of a Young Girl at 14 and going, "Is it time to get out? Do we need to get out now?" Like,
right.
you know, because
Yeah, you've got this, I'll say charismatic, but understand that it's entirely in quotes because Trump's level of charisma is I'm fucking awesome, believe me. But charismatic leader rising to power, specifically going after the media and opposition to make them seem like they're demonized and bad, and trying to make the opposite side seem like they're pretty good people. Like, do you hear yourself talk?
Yeah.
And then you hear the cult of personality that follows him and how different they sound compared to what they sounded like even 4 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. It's like he's given everyone permission to be racist scumbags. And yeah, the immigrants are here only while the economy works. If not, we move on in masses. And that's absolutely true, because the fact is that a lot of immigrants, that's the whole reason they're here in the first place.
Right.
The economies they came from weren't working. And certainly, well, that's not why how all of my people ended up here, but it is how some of them ended up here.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of them were kicked out as some issues, but anyway, but yeah, it's absolutely right. And here's another thing that makes me really sad is, like, especially if we are targeted. And if you are Latinx and in this country right now, I feel for you. I am so if there's fuck, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a white asshole, but like, I don't know what it's like. I not really for you, but the stuff, the stop and frisk garbage, and how, the statistics I'm reading lately are just horrific. And so, yeah, something has to give, because immigrants built this country. I mean, to quote Hamilton, immigrants get the job done. And that's the fucking truth right there.
Yeah.
And we are all, I'm descended from immigrants. I mean, unless you are a First Nations person in this country, and bless those people, because they've been through hell and back. But like,
right. Still are.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, especially, yeah. That's a whole other show, but yes, we should touch on that.
No, I mean in the past, because even, whether liberal or conservative, the Supreme Court hasn't really done much to help, first,
Indigenous, First Nations people and Native Americans.
Yeah. And helping to say, hey, United States, you signed this treaty that promised this to these First Nations, and then
funny, they don't dig on treaties anymore. Funny that. Yeah, it turns out when you screw people over en masse, they remember and don't like it. All right, well, on that happy note, please watch the debates. And Drew, if there's anything you want to say on before I sign off.
No, everybody stay safe, no matter where you're at. Y'all are awesome. Be safe. Take care.
Yeah, everybody be safe and take care. And thank you, Microraptor. That's really fucking cool. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of us know what it's like to be different. It just doesn't always show on the outside. Yeah. So just so y'all know, like, we're all in this together. And we're not forgetting anybody, and we're not leaving anybody behind. All right. And with that, I will say thank you all so much for coming. And you can't find truth in wine or sake, which is a rice wine, but you may find it in reason. Love from Memphis, y'all.